Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day and I welcome you all to this day 2 of AWS series. Today's session is all about what is AWS. So let's check the agenda for this session. We're going to start with the introduction to AWS. Moving further, we'll talk about the AWS services and we are going to sum up this session with AWS Management Console. I hope you are clear with the agenda. So without any further ado, let's begin. Before we begin, subscribe to Intellipaat and don't forget to press the bell icon to get more updates.
See what is cloud computing and how cloud computing basically made it better. So in simplest terms, cloud computing is a technology where a resource is provided as a service through the internet to a user. So cloud computing can be anything. For example, Gmail or Google Drive. These are all cloud services, but they are a different type of cloud service. You're provided the application and you don't know where the code is running. You don't know where the application is running in itself. You just are provided do all the operations you want to do. So for example, Gmail, you can send mails. You don't know where the mail is stored. You don't know where the mail you're receiving is stored, but you know it works. You know the application works. You don't know where the code is also stored. So that is called a software as a service. You're getting a software as a service via the internet. You're not downloading it or you're not doing anything else. You're accessing it directly via the internet where it is hosted somewhere else. Same thing, but when it comes to infrastructure, let's say you want a server, you want to launch a server. In that case, you have to basically, so you will have to, in this case, which I explained just now in the on-premises setup, you'll have to buy it, then configure it and do a lot of things before making it run. But when it comes to cloud, it takes a couple of minutes to launch a server and do provisioning and upload and install software in that particular server. All right. So if time permits, I'll also show you guys a basic hands-on of how to launch a server and how to run a web server inside of it. So it will hardly take 5 to 10 minutes. I'll show that. All right. So now cloud computing benefits. So the disadvantages we saw. What are the disadvantages of on-premises? Now, what are the benefits of cloud computing? Data privacy and security. No maintenance worries, because if you go with AWS or any cloud provider for that sake, Azure or GCP, they take care of the maintenance in the complete data center. They maintain and they make sure the data center is always available. Data privacy security, again, it's AWS or Azure. So AWS is owned by Amazon. Azure is owned by Microsoft, GCP is owned by Google. So these are tech giants who can invest billions of dollars into network security. Faster data recovery. So cloud, obviously, if it is a much faster data center, obviously you can recover data faster. And this basically means we can say, let's say you have your data stored in 3 different locations in the cloud, 3 different regions. So every single region will have a different retrieval speed. And you can basically optimize it by setting up the region the closest to you. Okay. And the scale dynamically. So in on-premises, you cannot do that because you had to buy servers and set them up every time you wanted to scale up. And scaling down is virtually not possible because you have to sell your servers or just throw them away if your application's popularity goes down. But on the cloud, you can set up a policy where it automatically increases the number of servers or decreases the number of servers according to your incoming traffic. And let's say if there are 1,000 users, and in that case, it will automatically, so let's say for 1,000 users, there are 10 servers. Each server can handle 100 users. So now suddenly there's a spike in traffic and there are 2,000 users. So now if each server can handle 100 users, now you would need 20 servers to manage all the 2,000 users. So according to the policy, it will automatically spin up 10 more servers or 11 more servers, and all 20 servers will be running and will be accommodating the 2,000 users who are entering your site. Same way, if right now, let's say after midnight and there are not much users, there are only 500 users on your site, so it will automatically decrease the servers to 5 servers because each server can handle 100 servers. So now the thing is, you can set up the minimum number of servers running at any point of time. So let's say the minimum number of servers you provided as 3 servers. So even though your website is having only 100 users at once, because when you can scale dynamically, increase and decrease the number of servers according to the traffic, you are cost optimizing your application. And faster data recovery reduces the internet bandwidth. No maintenance worries. You don't have to hire people to maintain the data center. So again, reduced costs. Data privacy and security, again, you don't have to hire top security professional, top networking security professional to handle your data center. Okay, so these are some of the benefits, guys. All right, so now let's start with the next one, which is what is AWS. AWS. So Amazon Web Services is a cloud provider which provides its users a wide range of services via internet. Okay, so Amazon Web Services was launched in 2006. And so back then they just launched with two services, EC2 and S3, which are still the most integral services in AWS. All right. So the thing is, it is owned by Amazon, and so AWS, Amazon.com completely runs on AWS, and you can see that Amazon.com is always available, and it's a pretty fast website. And yeah, so that basically is an example of how AWS can be, how good AWS can be. Also, Netflix is also completely hosted on AWS. All the data is stored in the AWS data center. The applications are running in the AWS data center. The analytics, everything is done in AWS, and Netflix is a very lightweight streaming platform. And one of the reasons is AWS, because of its faster its capabilities which it provides. Okay, so these are the other cloud providers, guys. I just wanted to give you an intro of them. So Azure, Google Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, IBM Cloud, VMware, Salesforce, right? And why is AWS successful? So when 2006, they basically revolutionized the way the IT industry was launched and looked at servers, because you can spin up a server in a matter of minutes. You don't have to wait for a long time, and you don't have to wait for a long time for them to configure or set up. You can deliver in a couple of minutes and start using them without even noticing. Spin up a server, any delay in time. So, and there are other things why they got famous is simple and per hour billing. So this is one of the reasons. That is, you can, so let's say you're running a service for just 2 hours, you only get billed for those 2 hours. You don't get billed for creating the service or deleting the service or modifying the service. No, you just get billed for the time you're using that particular service. And Amazon's brand name is also one reason, because Amazon is one of the biggest renowned names in the IT industry. An easy profile setup, it doesn't take a long time to actually set up your AWS profile. So you can just provide, like, it's like how you're creating a Facebook profile, but the only extra thing you'll have to do here is provide your debit or credit card details, because obviously they provide you a 12-month free trial, free tier. There are some services which are available in the free tier. If you are within the free tier limit, you won't get billed at all. If you're exceeding the free tier limit, then you'll get billed. But again, you can still be in the free tier limit. While practicing, it doesn't, like, you will not have to use bigger services, and which will basically cost you. And yeah, so that's one reason why it's successful. And then the service domains. So there are various service domains, guys. So in this case, I'm just gonna introduce you to some of them, and then talk about 5 different AWS services. So compute, database, storage, migration and transfer, customer engagement, security, identity and compliance, management and governance, networking and content delivery. So these are some of the major domains in AWS. And so one of the top domain is compute, because people are using AWS and other cloud providers, especially for the compute domain, because compute is basically what you need to run an application. You need a server to run an application, and the server is basically a computer, right? You can run a web application on your computer, and the same way you can run a web application on the AWS server. And yeah, so basically it's the integral and the most essential part of AWS. And then database services are available, storage services are available, and all types of services are available. All right, so now let's discuss the top 5 and top.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud and DevOps, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification in cloud computing and DevOps by ENICT Academy IIT Roorkee, and it is taught by IIT Roorkee professors and industry experts. This course is designed to help you upskill and land in your dream job. Now, let's continue with the session.
So if your company might ask you to learn certain AWS services, or like they might ask you to learn certain AWS services. So first figure out what are the AWS services you want to learn, and then accordingly you'll have to plan it, and every single AWS service will have its own time period. Yeah. So the 5 services which I'm going to explain, you can basically start with these 5 services, because these are the most integral services in AWS. And yeah, so if you have time every single day, then you can basically master these 5 services in a span of 3 weeks. Because yeah, so you can learn all the ins and outs of it in 3 weeks. So now Amazon Cloud Elastic Compute Cloud, it's called EC2 because Elastic Compute Cloud. All right. So it stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, used to create virtual machines in the AWS cloud. So virtual machines are basically servers on the AWS cloud. So to give you a little bit of story here. So AWS will have their own data center where they have physical hardware, and in the physical hardware there is a software running called hypervisor. So hypervisor is the software which will get the input and create a virtual machine according to your need. So let's say I want a Ubuntu server and I provide that information in AWS and I click create. So once I create it, it will be that information basically ask. So it will basically send a request into the AWS data center. That software supervisor will create a Ubuntu virtual machine and assign this request. And for example, let's say I've asked for 6 GB of RAM and 30 GB of storage. It will assign that in AWS data center. The detailed private IP address of that will be sent back to me from AWS. So this is how it basically goes on. But you would need to know a lot more about it on how it works. But when you start with it, you don't have to actually know and understand how the back end of the AWS EC2 works. You just have to know how to create it and how to work with it before we finish what actually happens over there. Website also today, so create a server and how to host a website inside of that server. Okay. All right. Next comes Amazon Relational Database Service called RDS. All right. Now talking about RDS. So RDS is used to create dedicated database instances. So in this case, it is a server. It's a compute instance. That is, you are creating let's say, a Ubuntu server or a Windows server or a CentOS server. So you're creating a server. In this case, you're creating a server which essentially is for a database. You'll be given the endpoint, the port number to connect to the database. So using RDS, you can create a database server. So it's basically very simple to use RDS. You can provide all the details you need. You can provide the database name. You can provide the size of the database you need to be. For example, you want it to be 100 GB. You want 100 GB of storage. You can provide all that details and create it. And AWS provides you with 6 different database engine options. So 3 are provided here: MySQL, MySQL, SQL Server, Postgres. Then there is Oracle DB and there is MariaDB. And finally, AWS themselves have their own database engine called Amazon Aurora. But Aurora, again, it uses MySQL and PostgreSQL for its own schema. So you can either choose from MySQL or PostgreSQL when you're using Amazon Aurora. So these are the different database engine it provides. You can choose any one of them and create a database server. All right. The next service is Amazon Simple Storage Service. Okay, so it offers highly secure and redundant file storage service. So again, S3 is one of the simplest services AWS provides. It is straight up like Google Drive. You can store all kinds of files and you can store all kinds of data. So you can store binary objects. So it can be an audio file, it can be a PDF, it can be a text file, it can be a video, doesn't matter. You can store any kinds of binary objects. All right. So, and also it's a really fast storage service, and you can store virtually unlimited data. You can store terabytes of data. You can store petabytes of data actually in S3. All right. Also, it provides various integrations. So it uses the HIPAA. So yeah. So basically, to help prevent data breaches, they provide these integrations and with PCI DSS and HIPAA. And also, you get data flexibility without almost zero latency. So it's actually not zero latency. There will be latency according to the region where your data is stored. If let's say you are trying to access data which is stored in the US data center from India, there will be latency. But if you're trying to access it from a region from a data center which is close by to you, so I'm from India, if my data is stored in India and if I'm trying to retrieve information from the Indian server, then the latency will be much lesser. And also you can choose the type of storage you want. That is, there are 6 types of storage class in S3. So storage class decides what type of data you're going to store. So if you go with a standard, it would be regular data which you access frequently. Then there is another option called infrequent access, infrequent data. So in that case, that data would be accessed infrequently, and that basically will keep the data stored in a much cheaper storage area. So that obviously the reason why you choose that class is because that data is used infrequently. One more example is archiving. So you can archive your data. Let's say you just want to see that data maybe once in 2 months or 3 months. So you can archive that data and it would be more than enough for you because you will not have to retrieve them constantly. And in that case, it will take some more time to retrieve that data. So you can choose the storage class accordingly. If you choose the most frequent class, which is standard, then it'll be really fast for you. All right, so this is S3. And next comes AWS auto scaling. So I was explaining about the increasing the number of servers and decreasing the number of servers according to the incoming traffic, according to the CPU utilization in your servers. So you can basically do that using AWS auto scaling. So in AWS auto scaling, you can create a group, and that group will in that group you can provide the details, like let's say my minimum number of servers should be 5. Any single time when I open when my application is running, there should always be 5 servers running. So then if the CPU utilization of all my servers go above 90%, so in that case I want another server to be launched. So again, even then, after 6 servers are running, then every single server's utilization is noted. And again, if it again goes above 90%, then another server is launched. So according to the utilization of the servers, you can increase the number of servers and decrease the number of servers as well. If the utilization is very less, then you would not need a lot of servers, and it will automatically decrease the number of servers. All right. So it's again a free service from AWS that allows you to scale your infrastructure automatically. So this is what I was talking about. All right. And then one final service we'll look at, and then we'll move on to the demo, which I wanted to show you guys. And that basically is, so enables you to manage access to AWS services and resources securely. So let's say you are in a company and there are 10 different users, and you just want to provide certain service. So basically, let's say there is a web developer who wants access to servers and the database, and there is an administrator who wants access to the billing tool. Okay, so now what you can do, you can create 2 different users and provide certain permissions so that the web developer can only access EC2 and RDS. So you can make sure that the person who is using, they only get access to the services they need, and they don't have to go around and use other services. So then same thing with the other person who just needs access to the billing tool. So in that case, again, you're providing access to them, and yeah, so they can only use the billing tool when they log into their AWS user, what is that called? So you can create an IAM user, and when they log into it, they'll be only given access to that one particular tool. So in this case, you can basically reduce risk of people misusing their account. So you have one account. Inside that account, you can create multiple users and provide different permissions to all of them, and you can access all of those users from one single dashboard.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud and DevOps, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification in cloud computing and DevOps by ENICT Academy IIT Roorkee, and it is taught by IIT Roorkee professors and industry experts. This course is designed to help you upskill and land in your dream job.
Now that we are done with the session, don't forget to subscribe to Intellipaat and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on Intellipaat.